Are you gonna clap?
I already clapped.
I didn't. It didn't pick up on Discord. That's funny.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, hold on. Let's stop and
No.
redo that again.
It's fine. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
All right.
Did you stop?
No, I haven't. I'm running it.
Hey. Okay.
What a fucking start to this season.
The Wannabes Season 2, Episode 1 is off with a bang or a clap or a disjointed effort to rejoin with my buddy. But, man, it's been a while. I'm just excited to be back. Will, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing good. You know, still in Western Massachusetts, still no net play and stuff like that. Just doing job interviews. I just finished a final round interview with this one company, so fingers crossed there's an offer in my near future. Knock on wood.
Sick. Yeah, I know that it's just been turbulent to say the least. I think as a Season 2 opener, and this idea just occurred to me, so I'm going to roll with it, we should
go for it.
Define what the podcast is. So this is, we started in November of 2018 with the idea. Our first episode was December of that year. And it's a podcast about our journey as Melee players. Now, Season 2 is probably going to have to be a little different because quarantine has just upended everything. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I mean, like, half of our conversations were, hey, bro, how was your tournament run? Even though we went to the same tournaments.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that, you know, in terms of, like, what I see Season 2 being is more of, we're probably going to talk more in a broader scale. It's going to be more of a coming of age, you know, story, which sounds a little bit cliche, but it's kind of the same thing of where are we finding ourselves in this space, in both in career and both in Melee and hobbies and passions, and so similar themes still, right? Pursuing passions while growing up is always going to be the core of the Wannabes, us trying to get somewhere. But I think we'll delve into a broader range of topics, which is going to be really, really interesting as we catch up each week.
No doubt. And it's actually really cool that you defined it. We actually haven't spoken really about this. This is, we haven't really spoken in a while for obvious reasons, and it's not the worst thing in the world, but I definitely missed you. And now we're like trying to find this thing again that we just really enjoyed for so long. And once we kind of set the time, I just had this flood of excitement again of like remembering what this was like as an intrinsic experience, like how good it was to just be able to talk to someone. I did for a large part of the time we weren't recording, I started therapy and was doing therapy and just recently ended that. So I'm sure this will be filling some holes that left out for sure. And it will be way less expensive, which is cool.
Yeah, that's true. You know, my going rate is pretty forgiving, right?
Yeah. Well, hosting on Podbean is $95 a year. So you can't find a therapist for that price anywhere.
Yeah.
But regarding like the topics, I thought of it as like anything that comes to our mind, whatever we're really focused on and working with. But we could always keep Melee as a topic. You know, like visit quickly, hey, how's your Melee going? And then we could always just dip out. It kind of like reverse the 80-20 that we were doing before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And it's going to be interesting because we will just hit a much broader range of topics. I think what's going to be interesting is to see where Melee falls for both of us, both during this like pandemic timeline and also post-pandemic, you know, going into the new year. Not that we're anywhere close to that, just just thinking a little bit farther ahead. But, you know, at least for me, like I found that Melee's still been a really big part of my life, just in a very different way than it was before COVID. And it's given me space to pick up a lot of new hobbies and skills, which have been really interesting and fun. So, you know, I think I'm curious on like where our conversations will go, because we're not bound by reviewing the HNC brackets, which, you know, I desperately miss. Shouts to HNC.
Me too.
But like, we're not bound by that, right? Like, so, you know, like a shout out here and there for the stellar net play performances of our friends, and then we kind of take it from there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I still find myself just very much engaged with the community at large. The infrequent but still exciting majors that come up have been pretty cool to watch and keep an eye on. So I find myself like, even though we took an unintended break from tournaments, and then maybe a more deliberate break from talking about Melee every week, I found myself just very naturally and easily coming back to the game, either with playing pretty much every day, even if it's just a few games on Slippy. It's just that easy to get in a game. And just kind of watching all these things sprout up, new content creators, new tournament series, drama on Twitter. I'm still just very much engrossed by everything. And so I guess it's, the old adage is true, right? It's like you never really quit. And even though I didn't make a proclamation of quitting, I stepped away and then just kind of found myself right back in the middle of it.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And I think that's what's going to be interesting is what other stuff do we pick up, and it's always going to be a podcast about, you know, our own personal growth journeys, both like professionally, Melee wise, and like just like life wise, right? And I think that's going to be interesting, because I feel like, at least from our one catch up, like back in August, it's lots of stuff is going on like in the future that we'll get to in the, if not this episode, in future episodes. And I think, you know, kind of to start it off, like maybe we should give a brief summary of what we've been up to, you know, like, and kind of fill the folks in on the Wannabes Dark Ages.
Yeah. Oh man, what a depressing time.
Really quick summary, really like 30-second snippet. All right. We don't need to get super into it.
All right. Once it hits 7:55 on my timer, I'm gonna start and give it a quick and dirty 30 seconds. And
all right, that sounds great.
So I have been working at my job pretty consistently. Have been able to stabilize there, like emotionally, and just what my day to day is. Really, just hanging out with Ashley a lot. We've been on a few vacations over the summer, and was able to see our friends safely, but a good amount of times, and consistently picking up new endeavors and having ideas that have just not had the follow through that I want. But we're hanging in there, and I'm ordering a lot of food. Bam, 30 seconds.
Hi. All right. My go now. So pretty much just picking up new hobbies. Took a shot at streaming and content creation. We'll probably bring back the YouTube. Not too sure about Twitch. Got super into the stock market. That's going well, thankfully. Was furloughed during this whole time. Got fired in August. Been on the job hunt, which is why I've kind of been MIA for the longest time. Really missed Melee because I moved to Western Massachusetts with my girlfriend and bought a Boxx, so I'm practicing every day now again, and I'm on my way back to the grind. Bam. And just doing interviews.
Nice. All right, well, that was episode 1 of season 2. Thank you guys for listening. This is the quick and dirty season.
The dirty 30.
The dirty. Ooh. We have a segment alert. Dirty 30.
Never left. We've been doing this whole time.
Yeah. We've just been sending each other voice memos and saying we should upload this, and then never uploading it. But great. Cool. Now.
Yeah, so I think, where do we want to go from here?
Yeah.
I think is the question.
Well, there's been obviously so much that has happened, right, that we can't cover, and I'm glad that you kept it short, because we have a tendency of just like sticking to a topic and just like really hammering it home, which isn't bad, but part of me kind of wants to spread it out a bit in a way that's a little more deliberate. And we do have a planned break, which is something we've tickled with in the past, but now is something that we can use to leverage whatever this is.
Play now on Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah, right. Holy shit! Imagine one day.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're-
we just
yeah,
need.
yeah.
I think we need 50 viewers to get a sponsor. I think that's their cutoff. So that'll be easy.
Well, yeah, I know. So yeah, lots of different things going on. I think, at least where I want to start with, is, and I think this is gonna be I'm gonna make a YouTube video about this in the future. Don't know yet when, but I'm going through the interview rounds right now, and I've been having to talk about Melee actively with my potential hirers, right? That to see if they want me, right? And how do I explain I'm a gamer has been really interesting. And so I'm thinking of making a video of how to sort of market yourself and Smash and the Melee experience as a whole as something really desirable for a company. And I think that's been really interesting, because part of me messaging you like, hey, we should run this podcast again, is like me having to explain what the Wannabes podcast is on my resume.
Yeah, I've brought it up in work related terms too. So from your perspective, I mean, how often are you bringing it up, and how effective do you think it is as kind of like a way of explaining yourself?
Yeah, I think that for me, the two biggest things, aside from like the soft flex that I know how to make a podcast, which is the hotness to any company, truthfully, is really this idea. I always bring it up when they ask my thoughts on like how I handle criticism and feedback, and like constructive criticism, and also how I handle sort of stuff when I'm really like tasked with sort of a challenge, or how best do I learn, are kind of three categories I go super in depth with. But I think the first one is the golden one, where it's how do you handle constant feedback. And I always talk about training and entering these tournaments, and being ranked 14th pre-COVID and in NYC, and how when you go to these tournaments and you put money down and you're playing people, you're always going to lose unless you win the whole event. And you have to kind of just like throw the ego out and like go back and see what you did wrong and work on those weaknesses, and go again and go a little bit farther but lose to a different person, and it just repeats itself. And it's in my opinion, like, just the truth. Like, that is sort of the mentality that Melee, or any competitive thing gives you, right? But I think it really showcases it. So that's probably my like favorite one, without going into too much detail.
Yeah, I totally read that. And there's, as you were talking about it, I'm like, man, he could go in so many different directions. I think any Melee player really could. And I think that's a really good one to kind of visualize as somebody who is looking to hire. They want to see that you are not kind of stubborn, or that you're not just sort of like, yo, I'm the man, I'm the best, I'm just gonna like, taught me how to, I don't know, win gracefully. Like losing and failing is a huge part of the job. It's kind of cool that they're having these conversations with you at this point, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good. As I earlier in the segment, like, knock on wood, like, hopefully, I'll something goes through and I can be done with these interviews. But for right now, I'm just kind of playing the waiting game. But yeah, it's really cool being able to share that, and I think it's partially you just want to open up. Like, there's no way you can hide that you're a Melee fan.
Yeah.
Like how many times will you be like, yeah, like I can't go out tonight. Like I got a tournament, or I promised, my friends were going to watch Big House, and stuff like that. Right. And I think it's like not only is it like true that you gain really valuable skills, like how do you deal with failure, how do you deal with criticism, like how do you learn, right, in Melee, but also that like it's just like that is you as a person, right? Mm-hmm. And like I feel it's similar to like, I guess a little bit similar to dating, where it's like you kind of want to put it out in the open that like this is me, like I'm kind of a nerd about this.
Yeah.
Well, and it shows that you're a competitive person too, which I don't think is a bad thing at all.
Yeah, I think it's more about being like showing that you have a passion and something that, I mean, the longevity of both of our careers is getting more and more impressive as time goes on. Like, hey, I've been playing this game for 7 years. 7 years. And it's like, at that point, they're just saying, wow, this is someone who found something and committed to it. Obviously, I don't think any employer realistically thinks they're going to have, like, oh, this guy's going to have the same passion for, data analytics. But there's still that level of, okay, he knows what it's like to stick to something, to improve at something, to, find all the value and joy that comes from picking something apart and learning. It's like, I think because I had a similar experience in my job where I didn't use it in the interview itself, but over time I would like say, hey, I can't go to this work event, I have HNC, whatever, and people are just receptive to having that be like a part of your identity. Just say, yeah, this is important to me, and people respond really positively to a kind of full-throated, chest out, I love this game. that
yeah, and it's kind of just being authentic. And yeah, no, I totally get that. And it's kind of just like being authentic, and what's the word that I'm looking for? It's like you can hold multiple passions at once too, right? So like I think like it's really interesting when I talk with my parents about it, because they're very like traditional and conservative, like Asian parents, and they're like, oh, like don't mention that you're like a video gamer, and it's like really interesting, because like to me it's like I'm showing them that like I have the ability to care about something deeply and invest in it even through the like difficult times. And I think like why not have it be in data analytics too, if that is your swing to it, and I think that's the thing, right, is kind of just latching on to an idea and kind of making it your passion rather than, and like it's easier to find passionate. It just shows like it's easier for people to become passionate about things if they already know what is the process sort of to be passionate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'll take it maybe not one step further, but kind of like a tangent here. So today even I found myself in a groove with my job, which frankly doesn't happen all the time. I have a pretty boring job, but today, for whatever reason, I was just kind of cranking out emails and getting in this flow that was both necessary for me to like hit my quota of what I needed to do, and also just very fun. Like I was listening to a song and getting really into it and straight up like flow stating, if only for like 20 minutes or so, just seriously getting into this strong groove. And as Melee players, we relate everything to Melee, so maybe the 80-20 is more like 50-50, but it honestly felt like I was playing the game, like I was just hitting my shit. And if that, like, it's hard to articulate that, these highly specific instances where we feel like the game is improving our lives and getting us into our work. But I really do think that there's a common human experience of, I'm really into this thing. I have the capability of being this passionate, being this committed, and improving at something. And that's just a really attractive quality, even if it's not like, okay, specifically for this role, it's not helping. It's just like, I want an employee who has this kind of rich hobby life, that has this passion that they keep coming back to. I really see that perspective as an employer.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like what's great about it is you don't even need to like, no, there's no requirement, right, that like you can only say this as a top 100 person or like a PR person. Like this is something that like anyone could say, because it's a personal story, right? And I think that's what's super interesting about it. And definitely I'm excited to go like more in depth and have more angles to work on when I make this into like a YouTube video. But I haven't seen this content out there in sort of the Smash space, as you know, our theory is that everyone's kind of growing up now, right? You know, you're 7 years in, I'm 6 years in, and we're all growing up in our mid-20s. So think of everyone else doing that, right? Coming out of college or coming out of high school and all of that. So I think it's really an important thing to consider. So again, can't wait to kind of go more in depth. I'll definitely talk to you more about that. But that's man. A little teaser.
Well, it's a sick topic. And it's one of those things that's like, I think it's going to be good content because it's just so true to exactly where you are and who you are. I think it just really is the exact thing that you can make a great video out of. So keep me in the loop, man. Should I take over with the topic I've been wanting to hit?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to hit something, go right ahead. Word. You know, you don't need to ask. Well, you never asked before. You normally just talk over me.
Fuck you. I'm cutting your. I'm actually just gonna cut your entire track out. This is gonna be a monologue where I take awkward breaks.
Enjoy the 5 views then.
All right. Well.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go.
It's actually pretty related to what you're talking about on kind of the YouTube front. So as you know, and maybe some people who follow me, I'm really just honestly I'm struggling with my relationship with content creation, and part of it is that I've not had a very healthy. I don't want to come across as like too critical or like bashing myself, right? But I just haven't had a very healthy couple of months, and the trouble with content creation is like I almost think of it as a relationship, right? So if things aren't going great, you can't look to a relationship to fix all your problems. Like it might make you feel really good for a time, but it's going to, if you just lean too much onto it to make you happy, then it's like going to be a problem, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I'm having some different moments that are like similar to that, where I'm trying to like force feed, maybe not force feed, but like force this content into my life and these schedules. And hi, Ashley. I'm recording during work hours.
Oh. Am I ruining it?
Yep. I love you.
I'm gonna go for a walk.
Okay. Do you want to get me a snack? I don't know. That's what you do. Okay. Well, I'm keeping that in. Maybe.
Yeah, of course.
So, I'm. Let me take a step back. I've gone through different stages of having ideas, making videos, coming up with plans, where I'm like looking into the future of what it would be like, which inspires me. Like, what would it be like if I follow through with this for X amount of time, which inspires me to like get started and maybe even record and edit and put stuff out. And these kind of dream scenarios that I'm envisioning are just, they're probably realistic. They're like they're based in logic, but they're just ignoring so many things, and they're not like living presently. And it's kind of this weird loop that I'm in, where it's like I'll do well, I'll have this elation and just euphoria of having created something and having followed through with an idea, and then just like a crash and like a wave of apathy and complacency that has been cyclical throughout my entire life. It's always been like this, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm kind of in this murkiness and confusion where it sucks because I'm like also ignoring some definite successes that I've had. I made that video for the combo contest that I'm proud of. I still am proud of that.
Yeah, that was a sick video.
Thank you. And after that, I just like went dark, and for whatever reason, it's just I was working through this in therapy a lot, and like trying to figure out what it is about me that can start with such vigor and passion, and then just get distracted or move on to other things. That I'm just kind of I'm in this loop right now, and I'm so thankful that like that me and Ashley are doing all right, and financially we're good, and there's a lot of things to be grateful for. But when I go through a day where I'm either not working very hard at my day job, and I'm just like just watching YouTube all day, just these days that I hate using the word lazy, but that's just the easiest way to put it. It over time it wears me down, and I'm happy to be talking about it and just kind of vent it out a bit. Just it's a cycle that I'm just dying to break, just absolutely killing me over time. And so that's kind of where I'm at. There's no real direction in how I want to go with this conversation. I'd just love to hear kind of your thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting thing, because we both went super hard on the content wagon. Like I did the FGC thing, and then started streaming and all of that, and then we both like kind of fell off into the darkness all of a sudden, right? And it's just like life stuff happened. For me, I first went on vacation, met up with my girlfriend Pilar, and then found out I got fired or let go, and my dog passed away, and I needed to kind of really hustle to sort of find out what I wanted to do for my next steps, like with my career. And so like I totally get that in that sense, where it's like kind of there's like a little bit of this like guilt of like you produce this really amazing piece of work that you're really proud of, and then kind of didn't follow up with it. I think for my opinion, like what I've sort of learned is that like, and I guess this is similar to Melee, but like you have to look at it in like a more holistic sense, in my opinion, because it's like you can't expect to play good when you're tired or when you're stressed out about other things, right? Mm-hmm. And I think right now, while you do really love consuming content and have like really great ideas, like I think it's like more of a question of like, what is your capacity right now for it, like, and I think that's like the really, really big thing about this, right, is what is your capacity. Like even for me, like I took a little bit of step back, being one of the founders and the admin for the Melee Discord channel. I'm happy it's running and it still exists and it does the job that it set out to do, and is creating this really awesome safe place to find Melee players. But at the same time, just with all of my life stuff going on, it was just the thing that I had to drop on top of a few other things. Mm-hmm. And I think, I think that's really the thing, is just kind of looking back and analyzing, like, what do I need right now kind of to survive a little bit, right? Like, because it is trying times. Like, even, if you're good, financially and relationship-wise, which is super happy for you, of course, just this year is very taxing emotionally, right? With everything that's going on in the political space and all the sus people and what went through the Smash community over the summer and all of that. I think and what it went through life over the summer, right? Even. And so I think like, for me, it's about like, I guess like where I'm getting at with this is it's like about forgiveness and acceptance. It's understanding that like it's not on you that you have to kind of burn yourself out for this, right? It's something that you have to accept what your capacity is, and it might be more limited than when we were all systems go producing 2 or 3 episodes a week, and right. And going to tournaments and getting top 4 and shit like that. So that's kind of like my opinion on it and like sort of my take on it. And so I took a huge step back from everything and am slowly reworking stuff into my life now, including this podcast, because I feel like I have more of the emotional capacity, but also just like my life feels a little bit more stable than it did in the past, where literally everything was up in the air. Like I didn't even know that I was gonna live in Western Massachusetts with Pilar, because we didn't know, it was originally a vacation and she found a 1-bedroom and then moving and getting used to living together again and all of that. So like huge changes. And I feel like through all this, forgiveness and acceptance has been a big theme in kind of taking it day by day, even on days that are really hard, and like where I feel like I'm kind of just like watching life as a passenger almost.
And now a snippet from our 1v1 with Aklo earlier this year. If you're interested in more 1v1s, check us out on Podbean, Spotify, or Apple Music.
When we were playing as kids, like way even before we knew about competitive Melee, every time we get a kill on each other, we would taunt. And you know why? It's because I remember like when I was little, my brother showed me in Smash 64, like, and same with Melee, like when you taunt when you get a kill, the game gives you a stat called Fighter Stance. So I would try to get that every time. We would just always taunt. Like if there was enough time to taunt without getting punished between the stock, we would taunt. When I went to that first tournament, for the first one I entered singles, I'd be taunting, and then people were getting like, they're like screaming a little bit and like talking about it on commentary. I'm just like, I don't get what the big deal is.
It's so funny. All right, well, during the break I did some real emotional healing. And for our next and probably final segment of the episode, how about you take it away, Will? What are we talking about?
Yeah, I think one thing is, you're so corny, my guy, but I love you.
Yeah.
I think we can't have an episode where we don't talk a little bit about Melee. And I think we're going to talk about it a little bit differently here.
Okay.
Where I really want to explore and hear from you, truthfully, where you are at the game. Like we're 26, 25, right? And this whole pandemic's happening, and where do you stand in your relationship with the game? And I think it does, and I think that's going to be really interesting. And so I guess I can kick it off first.
Sure.
And for me, it's been really interesting, because at first I didn't play Melee. When all of the life shit was going on, I actually took a hard stop of Melee, which was like kind of the first in ever, I think, for me personally. Okay. That was more than like 2 weeks. And that was weird. And at first it was really relaxing, and it was, I had just so much free time, but eventually it kind of turned into boredom, and like it kind of turned its head in a very negative way for me, because it felt like there wasn't anything to kind of keep me grounded. And I realized sort of what truly was the space that Melee, or what role Melee played in my life, more than just like enjoying it for fun. And it was like a thing that helped ground me as an individual, where it felt like despite everything going on, I can actively work on this awesome thing, this coolest thing in the world for me, and feel like I'm moving forward in some sense, even despite everything in my life at that time, jobless, kind of moving, all of that, being super stagnant, right? And I think, and eventually it really became it was a void that was like really hard to fill. And I thought like maybe I'll try different games and other things. I had my controller and my CRT, but I really didn't feel like solo practicing at all. And it was interesting. And, in the end, I decided to go back to Melee, but challenge myself by picking up a Boxx. So I actually have been grinding the Boxx for like almost 3 weeks now, and it's and it's kind of like riding a bike again. That's just like a little bit harder to ride, and it's been super fun. I can talk more specifically about like what it's been like learning the Boxx, but in a more broader scale, like it's given me a routine again of being able to like wake up and grind and have that time for myself to kind of just like focus on one thing and kind of get my day off right. It kind of gave me a little bit more, I wouldn't say purpose, but like so much more enjoyment. You know, like I was even talking with my therapist, and she asked this really hard hitting question where I actually just truthfully just started crying. Where she just asked like, wait, so like, tell me more about Melee. Like, why does it mean so much to you? You know, and through my explanation, I just started bawling because like it just was truly something that means a lot to me. And like I realized how deeply I love Melee even outside of the grind and competition, and how it's like is just a mainstay in my life, you know. And I think that discovering how much I love the game truly, and like how much it does for me outside of just like the fun and friends, which are obviously super important, has been super cool. And so like it's to a point now where like I'm grinding the Boxx like 2-3 hours a day, if not more, when I have the time after I'm done like doing job applications and interviews.
Wow, it's powerful stuff, man. And
yeah,
I totally see how hard it would be to kind of quit cold turkey. That's a bad way to put it, 'cause it's not an addiction. It's a cornerstone. You know, it's like it's a building block. It's like it's a foundational brick that kind of, I mean, for both of us, I really resonated with a lot of that. Especially kind of the picking up the Boxx part, because there needs to be some sort of progression and some sort of like exciting feeling.
Challenge.
Yeah, for real. I mean, good luck with the Boxx. I've toyed with the idea myself, but I don't know if I'll ever make that shift.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just like choosing what felt the most fun, you know, not even what was necessarily like what's going to make me a better player or whatever. Though, truthfully, I feel like I'm becoming a better player through relearning the game and being like, oh, like I need to do it like this way instead of having it be kind of like just in my muscle memory, you know? So I've thought about the game a lot more specifically thanks to the Boxx. So, you know, I just haven't been able to like play or practice DI, but you know, the solo grind has been super fun, and I think it's a really sick product, of course. But yeah, I'm just having tons of fun. But I think, you know, like this idea of like, as you said, a cornerstone, of foundation is really important, because it's similar to like a person being able to like go to the gym or go for a run or play music, right? It's like it doesn't have to revolve around the rest of your life, but like having a good feeling there kicks it off the right way. And I think that's what it is for me.
Yeah, man. I totally resonate with a lot of that. Any final words before I take over? Because I think we're gonna find a lot of similarities how I kind of present where I'm at, you know.
Aside from that, you know, like hopefully once I get a job and settled, I can like start playing that play again, and would love to play you, of course. Closing words though, nothing really, you know. I think I'm just hoping for a comeback in 2021 with the Boxx, and I think I'm really looking forward to the challenge of it. It just seems something that I want to pursue right now. So
yeah,
and it's not being driven because of like hand pain or anything. It's just like is what I feel like I want to do, even if it might be a little bit of the longer road.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I might regret it in a few years. I might have wished that I joined the Boxx revolution before my hands turned to decrepit old twigs getting stomped on the school playground, but that's for another time. For now, I'm just using what God gave me, which is a JP White back in 2015. And
ooh, that's nice.
A Typo controller, who, shout outs to Typo. I saw some tweets from him that he's really doing well recently. So big fan.
Yeah, no, shout outs to Typo,
big
for sure.
homie. Love that guy. But yeah, still rocking the Typo controller. For me, yeah, I mean, I touched on it before, but I've been kind of rediscovering this game in a really cool way. Obviously, thanks to Slippy, which just kind of lets me flow in and out of these games. I'm playing a lot more Fox. I didn't drop the Falco, but I'm really falling back in love with Fox and kind of taking a page out of your book, where I'm just getting a lot of enjoyment out of finding a player and like trying to beat them as hard as possible. I'm not trying to style. I've probably been able to clip people, but I haven't been like thinking about clips or posting to Twitter or anything like that. I'm just finding myself really engrossed in these games and just trying to dominate and win and play well and do the right thing. And it's just, I don't know what came from it, and I haven't really reflected on it until just now. And I don't know what it is. I'm not entering competitions. I'm not looking at a tournament as like, oh, let me train for this. It's this new relationship that could only be in the age of Slippy, where I'm just able to, it's like an old friend. It's just someone I'm able to hit up and be like, yo, do you want to just chat for 25 minutes? And
yeah.
And it's comfortable, and at times I'm getting so invested that like if someone almost beats me or if someone takes a game off me, I'm just it's like a fire being ignited, you know? And that's a cool feeling, and that's kind of indicative of this kind of smoldering hope that I still have, that even though I'm in a less ambitious and scattered and somewhat confused place, that it's easily identifiable when when my passion is activated, and Melee is one of the more consistent ways of finding that. Similarly, I've been really into Warcraft 3 again. A few months ago, wow, it's really been a while. It really flew by, but my cousin hit me up one day just out of the blue. He's like, yo, you should start playing Warcraft again with us. A couple of my buddies have been doing 3s, and you know, we need someone to step in and play with us, 3v3s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, cool. And so
that's nice.
So we started playing again, and you know, after work every other day or a few days a week. And then it kind of evolved into like every day during lunch. I take my lunch break. I'm like 2v2s with my cousin just instantly. It's been like that for a couple months now. And this game, it's an RTS similar to StarCraft. I'm not sure how familiar you are with it or people listening, but
I'm not too familiar, so yeah, definitely fill me in.
Came out
a little bit
in 2000, like early 2000. July 3rd, 2002, with the expansion, I think, coming out a year later. Yeah, exactly 1 year later was Frozen Throne. So it came out when I was 8. So I don't know, I guess I have an affinity for early 2000s difficult games. But it still has a pretty active community. It's not hard to find games, and the skill ceiling is insane. Just absolutely bonkers. This game is so hard. And going through those steps again and finding a groove and learning how to learn and seeing progress in this other game, it's you know, I'll still have the one true love of Smash, but it's been really awesome having this, especially with my cousin, who we used to be, you know, we used to game together all the time, but haven't really been in touch the past maybe 4 years or so. And now we're playing every day for an hour over this one game. It's been, actually we took another afternoon session, don't let my boss hear this, from 4 to 5 today.
Hey, that's on you.
Well, yeah, I just can't let them know. I don't think they know what the podcast is. I think I kept that a secret. I told them I had one, but not what it's called. But yeah, like that's been a very similar sort of arc that I've been going through, and honestly, I'm so thankful to have these games in my life right now, just really keeping me afloat keeping my mental state somewhat stable and allowing my media choices to be very active and fulfilling and rewarding, and have that sense of progression, you know. I guess that's that's kind of what I'm settling on. Yeah, it's like just having something, even if it feels unimportant, and even if the curse of the content creator Wannabes is that every time we have a game or a passion, we look to convert that into a content opportunity, even without that being fruitful. It's been really rewarding and important. And if there's one takeaway I hope someone takes away from this episode and this rant, it's that as long as that's a mindful choice, that it doesn't have to be a career move. You can just kind of find something you love and find a game that challenges you and makes you want to be better and show up and focus and stay mindful. I think that's really important and valuable and valid. That's my slash rant.
Slash rant, yeah. No, I totally get that, and it sounds like it's definitely like super similar to kind of where we're both at. This like ability to challenge and push ourselves is kind of seems like a necessity to kind of start the day off right, you know, or have a good day even, you know. And I think more than trying to question why, it's just why not just lean into that, right? Like why just not lean into what makes you tick as a person? And I think that's definitely, I think, to loop it around, like, you know, a part of acceptance and forgiveness, right, is that like we do need these sort of activities to kind of make us more productive, to get the best work out of us and the best quality, you know. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's just really interesting how it's the exact opposite of like, oh, I should rest up so I can do a good job at X. It's almost just like, let me keep pushing myself so that like it just like is, and then just like transferring that, you know, like transferring it from one thing to another thing rather than like saving up energy.
Yeah. I think just having an outlet, you know, any sort of outlet.
Yeah, an outlet. Yeah. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Always here for those word discoveries, and I hope you're there for me too. God damn it.
Yeah, words are tough. Words are hard.
Words are tough. Words are hard. That's not the title of this podcast. No way.
That could be though.
That's a bad look.
That's a bad look.
Here's a podcast. They've done over 50 of them, but words are tough.
Words are hard.
Yeah. God.
Anyway, you know, I think that was a great segment. You know, I think the only thing I want to like finish off with, right, is I mean, there's so many places to go to like kind of like finish this off. But like one thing I was thinking about is maybe if we can get some questions, I would love to do more like Q&A dedicated segments, shorter segments, dare I say, just quick round fires. So, you know, anyone listening, feel free to follow us on our Discord, hit us up on DMs if you want us to talk about like any topic specifically.
Yeah, I will say that over the time that we've done this, those have always been kind of one of my favorite things to do.
I fucking miss it.
Is to feel like, man, I've accumulated some experience that could be helpful to someone, either if that's from someone trying to be a competitor. And nowadays, man, I'm not the person to ask about online tournaments. So you could ask. I could give you theoretically what I believe, but still, it's nice to know that, you know, maybe I could help out a young fledgling Fox player and no other mains.
Or an old fledgling Fox player.
Who could?
Or a non-Fox player.
No, if you want to help a non-Fox player, go ahead. But we gotta stick to our guns.
I will help a non-Fox player.
What I will from until the end of time probably is struggle and try to articulate how hard it is to make something. I'm so happy we're back here because this is one of the few things that I'm confident in knowing the process, and I'm sure it won't be tragically difficult to get back into the groove of editing and releasing, and we've been there, we've done that, and we can make it work. But
yeah, and
is everything else hard?
Yeah, I miss it. Yeah, it's kind of just like putting on your favorite shoes again after a long while, or favorite jacket because it's fall now. Actually, I know how to end this, JD.
Yeah.
I know how I want to end this.
What?
Simple shout out. Simple and short shout out. And it's to our buddy, Ventus Matt.
Yeah.
Ventus Official.
Absolutely.
Like, the guy has been with us, since season 1. Came through for us. And he's been super, whenever I talk to him, he's like, when's the next episode? When's the next episode? And he's pushed us both to, like, make good content. And we have something to show for that, too. So I think it's only fitting that we shout him out for our season 2 episode 1 video.
Yeah. Huge shout outs to Matt. Getting me in those Among Us servers. Hooking me up with good lobbies.
True homie.
Among less important things like... I don't know, detailed conversations about my emotions, or helping me work out details of critical work to my life. I think more of an important shout out is he got me some Among Us games. That game's fun as hell.
Yeah.
How'd the other session
game
go?
is fun.
You keep inviting me at like 11 p.m. Dude, it's too late.
Truthfully, speaking of the devil, Matt has turned into a godly imposter.
Really?
He clutched I think 2-5, like a 4v1 and a 5v1 at one point.
God.
It was so clutch.
Damn it.
Yeah, let's play next week. I'm busy this weekend, but let's play next week.
Down. Oh, okay. I have to ask you a question. Is your computer capable of playing? I want to keep this in because this is like a big part of my life. I totally forgot to bring this up. My friends and I are making a card game.
Yes.
Did I tell you this?
Oh, I should be more excited about this. Yes, I am excited. You just ruined the ending of this episode.
I don't care.
Yes.
I don't care, man.
That is hype. No, that's hype. That's hype. Keep going. I'm hyped now.
We're only at minute 53 with the break. We could keep going.
I know. It was just a great ending. Okay, just tell me about your card game.
We're not a dirty 30. We're dirty 30 times 2 minutes, that is. Look, I'm making a card game with my friends.
Stop milking it, yeah.
And we're in the play testing stage. We're play testing a card game, dude. And
that's hype.
It's really fucking fun. And I've been I don't know if you've tuned in, but I've been streaming it. Whenever we're
No, I haven't tuned in.
Yeah, I haven't been like pushing it like crazy, but there's this new thing that my buddy Joe we're making it based on our lives. So like the characters like are different versions of us, or like my girlfriend's a character. Mm-hmm. And like all the magic cards and shit are events on our lives. But in the future, we're gonna reskin it. That was just the initial idea, but we're crafting the rules and the gameplay, hopefully into something that could be, generalized and marketed. And dude, this has been like one of the more rewarding and exciting things that's been happening. We're actually playtesting tonight. I'll let you know if the stream's up and maybe you could check it out. But let me know. That's super hype. If anyone out there wants to be a playtester, we're slowly starting to expand the we have a Discord started. We want to start getting, if you wanted to be a playtester, you could get in. I would love your opinion on this game.
Yeah. I'm curious enough. Let's talk more offline about this. I want to know the metrics and the goals and all of that. We'll talk details.
Word. Yeah,
but I'm definitely interested in being a play tester. It depends on my job sitch, as always, and what I'm choosing to start up now.
Of course.
So I'll let you know.
Of course. Well, invitation is open. I just know I'm going to bring this up in the future, and I wanted to just put that out there. I'm making a card game. It's going to be the new Settlers of Catan. It's going to be we're going to make $1 billion. That's it.
All right, that's hype. That's hype.
All right. Well,
what's my profit?
Yeah, for a playtester.
What's my shares?
Playtester, you get 40%.
Sick.
Yeah,
I'll take 40.
We're bad businessmen. All right, man. Well, I gotta say, it's almost like we had no time in between at all. I gotta tell you, this is.
Yeah, no. This kind of went through like a blur.
I know. I missed you, man. I missed you so much.
I miss you too, man.
All right.
It's Good to be back.
Sorry to fuck
Let's
up the
keep it
ending.
on. No worries. I just thought it was really funny. Let's keep it a weekly thing.
Yeah.
Let's do it next week. I mean, it's a Thursday now, so we'll find our usual time.
Yes, sir.
Whenever that works out.
Yes, we will. Anyway, shit, this was great, and we'll talk more about the playtesting, and I might have to dock you a few percentage points.
That's fine. All right, man. Love you, man.
Yeah, I love you too, buddy. Talk soon.